Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today is a day that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. Trains? Meet TrixBrix. TrixBrix? Meet trains. Well, now all the introductions have been done. I do want to get on with getting all these trains whizzing around my floor using my new TrixBrix track, which I kind of reviewed in an unboxing on my Brick Haul channel, Brick Haul O'Clock. If you haven't seen that, there we go into much more closer detail on all of the parts themselves, what they do, where I'm going to use them. And it's worth mentioning again that this video or that one isn't sponsored, although they did provide all of this track for free. So I guess I am influenced, but I haven't been asked to say anything in particular. So just get that out of the way. So essentially, if I start building up this city in the Lego room, we're going to have some tables, some not, all over the place for quite a long time. So I figure before I get really started in anger, essentially this is the time to do a demo and a real thorough test of this track with all these Lego trains at the same time on my floor. So that's where I've placed the first part, and I realise my choice of carpet isn't that great for demoing track directly on the carpet, but you can see the second T-junction piece there, hopefully clearly enough. And what I'm going to do, or rather the main focus of getting this third-party track, because I don't usually go for third-party non-Lego parts, is so I can use all four of my Lego passenger trains, well, 5 if you include the Zeppelin train. I've got another plan for incorporating that later, but this is about the 4 main ones: the white fast passenger train, the green lime one that I call the Python, the Eurostar type one, and of course the flying Knotsman. And if you were bringing all of these down to the new Lego room and you were going to drop one locomotive, which one wouldn't you want to drop? I would suggest it was the Flying Knotsman, given that it's attached to both of its tenders. But that is the one I chose to drop, and it did kind of blast into smithereens. But I have managed to piece it all together. But that was a bit of a delay I really didn't need. But anyway, so yeah, the idea is to get all 4 of these lined up, much like this, in my central station, and have 2 running on one loop and have the other 2 running on another loop, one at a time on each loop, but nonetheless all 4 out at all times. So that is the main driver for getting all of this kit. And essentially from our T-junction, we're going to have it split from 2 tracks into 4 using these 0 gap switches. And essentially a lot of people have suggested that they might be a bit too close if there's 0 gap between a track, but I'm concerned about getting as much Lego into a smaller space as possible to make my city packed and stacked. And I figure that all of these trains are really just 6 studs wide, so I think it should work. I mean, all the tunnels in my old city were 8 studs wide, and they all went through them, so it shouldn't be an issue, but we will see. And then it will come out all the way down to about here, where we'll have the other T-junction, and then we'll have loop 1 for 2 trains, as I say, loop 2 for another 2 trains, and then an unbroken loop around the outside for the cargo train, which I'm not bringing down today. We'll put the Zeppelin train or something on that bit, and that'll go all the way around the outside without going through the central station, which will be where all those 4 platforms are. So that is the plan. I've also got a pair of continuous curve switches, just so on 2 of the curves we can go round the corner on the cargo line, but give the impression that the track goes on by having it going straight into the wall as kind of a facade. And we've got some radius 56 track, which means it should absolutely mirror the curve of the normal Lego radius 40 track as it goes around the other 2 corners. So that is the idea there. We've got some half track pieces. Yeah, so I've gone through everything there. Brilliant. Then we've got a great big set of straight track in here that I've been accumulating, because this city is miles bigger than the previous one. So that will cater for the surface track and all of the subway system, which will be at least double the size, which we'll be doing relatively soon, given it's at the bottom. But yeah, I'm hoping I've got enough of this, because all my regular track that I was using is still in the original city still. So we haven't brought that down yet. So we'll use all of that and see how far we can get. So The first thing to do is to build that setup, and I'm thinking I can go kind of around all these boxes as part of the scenery, maybe even underneath this table or something like that. When it is in final position, it will be pretty much right up against that wall, and up against that wall, and up against that wall, and then we'll be running probably about here, I think, with a good distance between it and what will be effectively the coastline all along those new Kallax units. So yeah, it's going to be a set of track that's, well, miles more than double the size of the original setup. So yeah, it's going to be really good. And of course, with 4 trains omnipresent, well, 5 if we can get the Zeppelin one in as well, then it's going to be miles better in another reason as well. So cool. Without further wittering, I shall get on using all of these parts and all of my straight track on the carpet, and we'll see how it looks. Oh, wow. You can just picture the station already, can't you? Wow. A central platform and one on either side, servicing these 4 tracks. There'll have to be a bit more single straight in probably about this gap here, otherwise we won't be able to fit a level crossing in, which I think I want to do. Yeah, that is looking very trainy indeed. Love it. Well, I figured I'd use my Zeppelin train as the tester for the entire setup, which is looking absolutely amazing and massive all the way around the room. I might have been a bit optimistic thinking I could reach behind all these boxes. Yeah, I didn't have enough track. I've used absolutely every last piece that was in there. I've even had to use an old Lego switch over there just for its straight section. When I liberate all of the rest of the track from the old Lego room, I think I'll have enough, but I might need a bit more if I'm going to do a much bigger subway system as well. It is staggering how much you can get through. So I've set the switch positions all over the place so we can test all of the sections of track with one train. So if you really wanted to have one train going around doing all sorts of different routes, this would be the setup that you'd want to do. Now, my Zeppelin train is air-powered, so we'll better start the propeller on the back. There we go. And then we better start, forward preferably, the motion. So, it's testing out the inner loop first of all. Very nice. And then the second inner loop, always driving on the left, as we do in the UK, but it would work in reverse. And then back through the platform, trying out one of those 0 gap switches, and then transferring to the outer line, which will be the cargo line. And the cargo line won't go through the centre, it will just go around the outside in a big loop, I think, and that'll avoid us having clashes on those 0 gap switches, of course. And then all the way back through the station again to redo the inner loop. So yeah, that's looking pretty good if you ask me. Maybe we can go even faster. This is probably when I slow it down. Yeah, that's when I slow it down. Whoa. Whoa. It's a bit of a shimmy there, isn't it, with the 0 gap switch followed by the T-junction. I think, as I said before, there'll be a bit more of a gap there for a level crossing in due course. This thing looks like a sort of little mammal running around my floor in a sort of funny pattern, like a mouse in a maze. Underneath the table, across the bottom. Yeah, looking good. Well, so that's the first test done, I suppose, isn't it? Absolutely everything works. Doesn't like that shimmy, I don't think. And the only problem I had that was very minor putting all of this track together was that the 3D printed parts have got slightly less grip than the injection molded ones. So if you kind of drag a large section of the track kind of across the floor, trying to link 2 ends up, if it was going to break, it would split at one of those joins. But, you know, that is such a minor problem in the fact that you're not going to be setting it up or causing too many breaks when you set it up that often. Cool. Well, I'm really happy with that. We'll wait for it to pull into the station on platform, well, I guess it'll be number 2. And then I can stop it and its propeller. And then we can swap it for the 4 trains that will go in those long platforms. where we've got the obviously white, lime, Eurostar and Flying Knotsman train as well. So hopefully they'll fit, because they're too long for even a long Calyx unit. They're actually, well, 3 of them at least, got their last carriage over here. So yeah, hopefully they'll all fit in that. I might need to rejig the track. But first test, really happy. Oh yes. Will you look at all of that Lego train goodness? I don't think I've seen all of these side by side before in one place. Well, apart from on the unit over there a minute ago, I suppose. And I think I was right in going for the zero gap switches, because you can see clear daylight between these trains, and that just means they're really crammed in. And if you've ever been on a fast train, when a fast train is going the opposite direction, it seems to be millimeters away, making your windows rattle. So I think that's pretty good, actually. And it's very good for getting it packed and stacked and making the station look absolutely rammed. So yeah, I suppose we better get these going around. And the best thing to start with would be to turn on all of these trains. We should have 2 headlights there, and we do. Other end for these ones. On and on. 2 more sets of headlights. Brilliant. Who should we start with? I say the Flying Knotsman is the best one. So I've got them all on one controller. Green, black, orange and white. So that would mean that this should power, yeah, the Flying Knotsman. So we'll start it off slowly to start with. Not too slowly, we're on it. Not making it around. Ooh, should be turning back up if I've got the switches right. Phew. And not careering into the back of the Python. Cool. So that is a shared track for it and the lime green one. And I think this is my favourite, partially because of the noise it makes. Can you hear that? Chug, 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 chug. I don't know how it makes that chug, chug, chug noise. It just does. Ever since I made it. A bespoke train with a bespoke noise. I absolutely adore that. So we'll leave that going. So on the same channel, I think it's white. Yep, there we go. So white is going to be going around this side. Let's get that going as well. Ooh. Very nice. Oh, golly, I was just thinking, golly, can they get past each other on that corner with the pointing nose of the white one? And it turns out they can. I hadn't checked that. Let's see. Oh, that's not as close as you might think, but that looks really good. So there we go, there's 2 going. Should we get the Zeppelin train going again? I'm going to have to switch to channel 4 for that. And that one should do the propeller. And then that one should make that go. So imagine this is a cargo Zeppelin train, if you can, going the other way and around the outside on its own dedicated loop. And that, hey, is the setup that we're going for. 3 trains going at once, but 5 trains in the whole setup. And this is miles bigger than we had before. Not just more complicated with really interesting pieces of track from TrixBrix, but much, much bigger. I think my existing setup is probably like one of these 2 sides on the floor at the moment, but when they're on the tables, they'll be even bigger in here. So I think it'll be more than double the trains for your money. So cool. Right, I'm getting confused. So I'm going to stop the Zeppelin train over there near one of the continuous curve switches with the point that can go off into the distance. And then I can turn this back to channel 3 and stop these things in the station. Ooh, and ooh. Ooh, that overshot a little bit. Let's just move that back in. There we go. And then we need to change the points. I need to change that one. So we've got the lime track going. And then we've got that one in there. So we've got the yellow, orange train going. So I'll flip to channel 2 and then we can start again. So let's go with that one. That should be lime. Ooh. Do you see that bit going around the zero gap switch? It's very sort of snake-like, isn't it? Which is very fitting for its name being the Python. Oh, good, I got the points right on this one at least. Oh, that is very snake-like. I like that. Let's get the other one going. So that should do a similar shimmy as well. Ooh, that is a lovely action. I like that. I'm going to stand back and watch both of them do it. Maybe need a bit more speed on the lime one, don't we? And I've stuck with power functions because I quite like the controllability of having it in my hand and not having it on a device, partially because I'm filming with my device as we speak. So having a separate handheld controller that does all of the train action in one go, I think is pretty good fun. So you can decide to make one go a bit faster or a bit slower or stop or whatever it might be. So I like that. And also the power function system uses rechargeable batteries as standard rather than just rechargeable AA batteries or anything like that, and that just makes it a lot easier as well if you were smart enough to buy them when they're available, because LEGO doesn't make any power functions anymore, of course. Right, let's get that Zeppelin train going again. Propeller on and charge. Fantastic. So I think this is a good test of the TrixBrix system. It seems to be working fine. I haven't really encountered any problems. The colour difference you just totally can't see at this distance between the 3D printed bricks and the ones done with injection moulding. I mean, you can kind of see that join there, that one's slightly more shiny than the other, a bit more dull on the left. Zeppelin train coming through. Woo! And as I said, the grip isn't quite as good as the injection moulding, but not bad at all. So I think it's been a real success. Now, if I can stop all of these trains, I might be able to tell you what I'm planning to do for the future as well. Let's wait till they're all in the station. There we go. Stop. And ooh, stop. Fantastic. I've got to get a bit better at that. But it is working. They're definitely not hitting in the station, which is going to be the main focal point of the entire room, really. Basically, a similar setup to what I've got now, but with twice as many trains in it and twice kind of as broad that way. But yeah, really filling a whole great big section right in the middle. We're going to use these continuous curve switches to have some interesting scenes where the track goes off into the wall with other trains coming out of the wall as a facade maybe, or maybe even linking up with a mine. I think I'm going to have one of these on this corner and have a mine sort of in that little nook there, essentially. But obviously this is all on tables. And I want it to then link up with some more narrow gauge TrixBrix track that you can get. And there's even, well, there's lots of different parts of the narrow gauge, which is the 6-stud wide track with 4 studs between the actual rails. But also there's some sort of hybrid track where the narrow gauge actually runs on the normal gauge as well. So effectively you've got 3 rails there. There's one sort of shared rail and then one kind of in the middle. So the 2 gauges work at once. And that's something that's very true to real life when you've got a country that's moved from one gauge to another, or when you've got 2 different types of train. I think that happens in the UK and Wales for the mountain trains, which used to sort of run for all the mining there, and yeah, places like Australia for the same reason. So yeah, I think that will be really good as well. And then I think I need to do this whole thing again with Subway, which is going to be huge. I want the Subway to have a station right over here, visible from as soon as you come into the Lego room. But I also want to have this sort of 2 that I've already got in standing holes. So we're basically going to have a loop at one end that then goes through the subway station, all the way along here, all the way along here, through the subway station, a loop, so then it can go back on itself. So we won't need 2 tracks for most of the distance, but we will have a loop at each end just to kind of turn it around. So it's always going the same direction. So that's going to be really good. And I may need to buy more track to do that. Wow, yeah. And as for the length of these, I think they're all right, actually. I think we're going to be able to accommodate them. But it does seem that the yellow train is slightly shorter than all the others. So if anything, I can actually afford to get one more car for that. So maybe I'll do a baggage wagon or something like that because it doesn't have one. But that is a very successful test. A bit confusing when they're all moving at once, but I think it works. Well, I just want to spend the rest of the afternoon playing with these in different combinations, but I suppose I better finish the video first. And new ideas are occurring to me all the time, actually. I was just thinking how it's a shame that I won't be able to have the Zeppelin running as well as all four of these because, well, they're kind of blocking all of the track. And it occurs to me that I could actually do a zero gap triple switch in here and then utilize this 8-stud gap in between the middle of all of these trains. Why not? I mean, it's only that long, so it wouldn't need to be a whole another line right in the middle. It could just be kind of like a little car park at the end before the platform started for all the passengers to get on and off those centre 2 trains. And then it could come out onto the inner track and do basically the whole loop. It wouldn't be able to go up the middle because basically it would hit something that's already there. And then when we were fed up of doing that, it could kind of reverse back into position. So, I mean, it's not ideal, but at least it means we can have our 5th passenger train on the tables as well and able to be used in another configuration. That'll just be amazing. And I'm also hoping that the cargo track we'll be able to get some sidings on for that to do a bit of a cargo yard. I'm thinking of doing the harbour over in that corner, that there'll basically be a cargo yard kind of over here, a connection between all of the seaport and the rail hub. So that will be really good as well. So I have to consider that. Yeah, so my juices are really flowing on this one. I think we can do a lot more than just this. But it will be a shame because we're kind of going to go backwards before we go forwards because I can't leave this blocking my floor all of this time. It's going to be a while before we've got this entire setup up again, much higher up, which will be easier to access and control. But yeah, the fact that it works is a really good start. And it means I can really start planning what goes where a bit more in depth, planning my city. Now I know how long I need to have all of these platforms and so on. And yeah, that triple switch, I think there's a picture of it in the brochure actually, of that one. But this one would be zero gaps. All of those would be right next to each other again when they come out. But that's the sort of thing I'm thinking of putting in the middle, which means I will liberate another one of these. So maybe I could use that in the cargo yard. Anyway, yeah, lots and lots of different ideas. I'm really glad this stuff works. I'm reinforcing my 5 out of 5 rating for TrixBrix track. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I've got no hesitation in buying some more for myself, so can recommend it. It's been a website that I've looked at many times in the past, but I never really had, the space to use it in the old city. So yeah, I'm just like a kid at Christmas now. Very happy indeed. So yeah, success. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO train videos and builds and brick hauls and so on. And if you value these channels, there are many ways in which you can support them. Do check out the links in the description below. I won't be able to leave this out for too long, I don't think, but I'm definitely going to keep it for a while. I've got a few new sets to build, like the old train engine shed, which might fit in with this setup very well. And I've got a load of builds of my own to show you that I've been doing in the meantime while waiting for this lovely, lovely space to be finished. It's going to be so great filling all of this real estate, I can assure you. Well, yeah, that has been really good fun. I'm going to keep playing with this. I better do the edit at some point, otherwise you'll have nothing to watch. But until then, see you! Okay, back to the TrixBrix website.